Hi everyone, it's Kelly. Welcome or welcome back to my channel. I hope you are having a fantastic day. So I had a viewer who requested to see more of these two products from Hourglass. This is from last year's. This is the Jellyfish palette. I just have it in the owl packaging because you had customization when you bought it directly from Hourglass, and this is the Leopard palette. This is the jelly is more of light skin and the leopard is for medium skin tone. But at the time when I purchased this, I was really into like the makeup, no makeup, or more of a natural look. So I bought the Jellyfish palette first. And, I do like it, but then I really thought about the medium one because I am light medium or medium in the summertime. So I gravitate towards this and I bought it as well. And since I have both, and I thought I would take these two out, my skin is a little bit not dark, but it's more towards the medium size versus the light size in the winter time. So I thought I can use two of these side by side again just to see the comparison and see if anything changes. Do I like any of these palettes more than I thought I would, compared to the original time? So that's what I'm going to do today. I already have my usual Tower 28 foundation, concealer on already, and that's it. So I'm going to go in with a fluffier brush. This is the Rose, the highlighting brush, but it's very fluffy. It's a dual-ended. Let's start off with the Jellyfish palette. I'm going to set my under eyes, and there's this nice light color. These palettes are pretty convenient because you have the setting powders and you have the bronzer and you have the blushes and you have a highlighter. So it's very convenient, especially for travel. And I really like that. And I didn't mind buying two, but honestly, do you really need to? Probably not. This is the leopard one. And I'm going in with this setting powder. I believe it's dim. So I'm just setting this underneath the area as well. Let's do the bronzer. I'm going to use the same brush for the entire look. Again, just for convenience sake. And bronzer, I usually do it these days sort of all over my cheeks and then to my cheekbones. The other thing that I really like about this Hourglass is that there's no fragrance. I am just, I don't know, I'm not a fan of fragrance product, and I'm glad that it does not have a fragrance. So that is one swipe of the bronzer. It's very light. This is a thing with this light palette. I like the makeup, no makeup look, but sometimes I feel like I have to go in extra because it's just not showing up. So I'm just gonna do it again, another layer, just for demonstration purposes so we can really see the difference. I believe that's what the viewer requests, to see more of this palette. And I do use this palette a lot. I really like the highlighting, the white. I'm not sure if you can really see how much it's used, but it's my #1 used product in this palette. So that is the bronzer from the Jellyfish palette. Now I'm going to use the bronzer in the Leopard palette. You see the difference, like it's just so much more pigmented right off the bat versus the other side. I mean, I understand that I like the makeup, no makeup look, but sometimes it's kind of really frustrating. Well, not frustrating, I just feel like I have to do more work because I chose a lighter palette for my skin tone. So that is one swipe, and this is two swipe. in real life, I feel like the medium palette does show more because it's meant for medium skin tone, right? So let's go in with another layer. I feel like this is more of a neutral kind of bronzer, and this is posed a little bit warmer from how I see it anyways. Oh, just for cohesiveness, I'm just gonna use whatever's left on the brush from the bronzer, and I'm just gonna lay it on top of my eyelids just to give it a wash of color, but also, you know, in the same family as well. And I know that a lot of people love using the bronzer as an eyeshadow just so it matches. So that's what I'm gonna do as well. The number one shade that I love here is the highlighting shade. And then I use the bronzer, and then I use the blush, and then sometimes a setting powder. And then this color is like the last color that I use in this palette. So I thought today, why not? I usually use this pink one, but because we're at the end of August, going into fall, I'm gonna try to use this one. I don't really use this one very often. Now we're going to use the blush, and since I never really use this blush, I'm going to try that today. And again, I'm just using the same brush. I kind of really like the mixture of, you know, the bronzer and the blush together. It just, to me, fuses and it makes it really natural kind of looking. So I'm going in with the blush here. This blush is more of like a berry pink kind of color. And I'm just going to take it into my lid as well. Let's go in with another layer. And just want to darken it on the outer edge here. Now onto the medium palette. This one has 3 blushes. 1, 2, 3. This one is a matte blush and it's more of a coral. It is very pigmented. I have used that before, but most days I use this because it has a little bit more of diffuse of another marble eyes look in it, that it's not really matte. This matte, I don't really enjoy matte blushes, so I don't really use this. And this one, I barely even use this. In this palette, what I use most in this palette is the bronzer, the highlighter, the setting powder, and then this blush. And I have used these two, but I have not really used this one. I've used this one maybe once to swatch, but I don't really use this one. And this one is also on the berry tone as well to me. So I will use this one and see how that goes. To me, it's a matte shade of a blush. I don't really enjoy that. So I really literally only have the one blush that I like because this gives me a little bit more of a satin sheen to it, while the other two are matte, especially this one. So we're gonna go in again. This blush is on the lighter side. You know what? Let's go in with the other blush too, just so I can show you what it looks like. But this one is on the lighter side for this palette for medium skin tone. So to me, it's not really showing up. But this one definitely shows up. It's really pigmented. And why not go with this one? Just to pop it on the cheeks. This is my favorite one that I like to use because it is a sheen, a satin sheen to it versus the other two, where I enjoy using it more than the other ones. But yeah, taking whatever I have, I'm just diffusing it, blending it out everywhere else. And since I've used all three blushes from this palette on this side, I might as well go with the other side. So we use this one, and then now we only have this blush, which is the blush that I usually use the most. And this one has a little bit more sheen to it that I like versus the other one. So it looks like we're using all the shade in this palette just for, but right now all we have left is those two. So I can add the highlighter, and then I can add a little bit of this. This is my favorite highlighter. It's just so beautiful. It's ethereal, it's pigmented, and it's the only white highlighter that I have. So I really liked to use that a lot of the time because of that glass skin kind of trend that we have going on right now. Since I have this palette out, I might as well go in and do the finishing powder on the face. Now it's this guy's turn, and we've used all the three blush. We've used the setting powder, bronzer. Now the only thing left in this palette is the highlighter. We don't have the extra color for setting powder. This highlighter, I do like it, but I feel like it's your typical champagne kind of gold color, since I have a couple of those. I mean, of course, it's a variation of gold, but I have other gold highlighters, so I don't really use this as much, to be honest. That's why I really like the #1 palette, because of the white highlighter. I'm gonna put it on my nose. So there we have it. So this full side of my face is this Leopard palette for medium skin tone. I've used all the shades in here. Same thing with this side. I use all the shade for the Jellyfish palette, which is meant for lighter skin tone. You can still see the light palette on my light to medium skin tone. You can the blush wise, but the bronzer wise, I feel like it sort of blends in. While this side I can still see more of the bronzer, but of course that means you can always just layer more bronzer if you really want to go for that look. But I do feel like these palettes are meant for the shade of skin that you have, in terms of not using extra product because of the pigmentation that's meant for the skin tone, if that makes sense at all. I feel like I've been saying that a lot in this the video about these palettes, but that's what I think. Like, I think light is meant for light, medium is meant for medium. But of course, you can use them for anything. You just have to layer more to see more of the color. So this is the white highlighter that I am just obsessed with. And the colors are very beautiful. It's not like glitter, chunky glitter or anything like that. It's very finely milled. Very diffuse kind of look, and that's what Hourglass is famous for, right? I'm just gonna add some of this watermelon pop on my lips just to sort of balance out the look. You know, I just went ahead and put on mascara. My eyelid is kind of bare other than the bronzer look, so what I thought is I'll just go ahead and put on some colors from each palette anyways, just to see. So we put this, I will put this out here in the front, the lighter shade from the blush, and then I'm gonna use the darker shade as the outer V for this look. I'm trying to use all the shade in here just as we did. I'm gonna add just a little bit more bronzer here. And then underneath. And I'm gonna add more highlighter. Let's see what happens if we add the highlighters in here. And then why not go to town with it? Add a little bit of highlighter here in the middle of the two shades. I really want to add a little bit of bronzer underneath the eyes for definition. And we're going to do the same thing with the leopard palette. Which one's the lightest one? This one is the lightest one, so I'm going to put that in here. And then this one, I'll put it in the middle here. And then we're going to use this most matte one as the outside. And then we're going to add a bit of bronzer, basically mirroring what we did on the other side. And then of course the highlighter, on this side, and then some highlighter in the middle, and then highlighter in the inner corner. And mascara is already on, so I feel like, yeah, now the look is really complete and cohesive. So what do we think? Leopard side? Jellyfish side? It's very much like a mixture of peachy pink kind of look, this whole look. Minus the highlighter. Anyway, so that is a final look of the day today. And I think even if I go, someone just look at me, I don't think they can really see the difference. I mean, I can't barely see the difference looking in the mirror myself. So anyways, I hope you've enjoyed this kind of palettes head-to-head competition, and tell me if you like it, don't like it, tell me what you think. We should really be using what we have. I know there's a lot of releases out there. As I'm doing this video, there are a lot of makeup releases, and I feel very bombarded, overwhelmed, and I'm glad that just sit down and just use what I have, considering, as you can see from these palettes, like, I don't think I'll be running out of this until like the next 5 years if you use this. This is the only product that I use. So, you know, use what we have and have fun with it. Until the next video, bye everyone.